So, Cardfight Vanguard Overdress. It's been a few hours since it was announced and I put out my first initial reaction, and my initial reaction very much was just that. It was just me going, cool, that's a thing that exists now. But of course, as with any big announcement, there's a lot of questions that are raised along with it. There's a lot of hopes, dreams, speculations, that kind of thing. And so let's just talk about it for a bit. So for this video, I'm probably going to put, some Vanguard 0 footage in the background just to have some kind of visual noise to distract you from my really boring voice. But yeah, let's talk about Vanguard Overdress. So the big thing, first of all, is I really do hope it's a new card game anime. Because, of course, with stuff like Vanguard IF, it's kind of up in the air as to whether or not that's a thing anymore, right? Like, are we gonna see card fights? And in my opinion, the more card fights we see, the more card fight centric we get, the better. I would love for this to be a series with a new protagonist, playing the card game, fairly heavy, like, slice of life, character focused stuff, with maybe some fantasy stuff later on. I know that's the thing everyone always says every single time there's any kind of Vanguard anime announcement, and I stick to my guns. That is what I want to see. Will we see it? We don't know. So what do we have so far in terms of information? We basically just have one image, pretty much, and the image confirms that the anime is called Cardfight Vanguard Overdress. Simple as that. And it seems to show what is presumably a handful of various different new units. Now, we can assume, and we're going to be making a lot of assumptions here. Yes, you can nitpick all the things I say and say, actually, how do you know you're right about this? But we're just going to make some general broad assumptions just to make this go smoother. I'm fully willing to admit that anything I say from this point onwards could be wrong. But I'm just going to go ahead and assume that all of these units that we see here are indeed units, and they belong to the same clan as each other. They could be a different clan, but I'm going to assume that they're from the same clan as each other. Now, my assumption is that this is a brand new clan. In fact, my assumption is that Overdress is a new clan, and we will discuss what Overdress could mean and the various possibilities later on. But I will admit, I'm not certain. I do think it's a new clan, though. I saw some people saying that maybe it's tachikaze, and I can kind of see that, but at the same time it looks like the boss monster, like the boss unit, like the big grade 3 is this like phoenix unit, and that doesn't look very tachikaze to me. Like the little like grade 0 egg thing, that's very tachikaze. The girl and the phoenix, not as much to me. It looks like a new clan, although again, technically it could belong to lots of different clans, right? Like if you really wanted to stretch, this could be something like Kagero or Narukami, possibly. There's also people saying it could be the clan from Shooting Star. I don't think so. I think if they were going to bring in the Shooting Star clan, they would just actually show us Shooting Star and make it more obvious than that. But I do think it's a new clan because I don't think bushiroad are quite done with clans yet. I think we're still going to get a couple more, and I think what better way of introducing another one than by tying it to a protagonist, just like they did with Gear Chronicle and Chrono Shindo. It makes a lot of sense, right? It's a very easy marketing trick, and I'd be happy with it as long as the clan can justify its existence. In fact, if this is a new clan, I'm claiming it. What do I mean by that? Well, it's a joke, basically. You know how like every Vanguard YouTuber has like a main clan that they have, like it's their clan, like different fight. When you think of him, you think of Dimension Police. When you think of Vanguard Insider, you think of Gear Chronicle. Well, I'm Overdress. If this is a brand new clan, it's mine. I want it. I am meaning it. The second its trial deck comes out, and there's nothing you can do to stop me. Well, I guess you could rob me at gunpoint, but that's beside the point. Please don't do that. So yeah, that's cool. I do like the look of the clan, by the way. I think the phoenix is really cool. I like the look of it, and I like the use of colors, like the reds and everything, and like there's a bit of blue in there. I just really like how it looks. So I'm gonna assume this is a card game anime. Like we're not doing the magical gods or anything anymore, and in fact that makes a lot of sense. IV makes a lot more sense in context, and now that we know what's coming after it. There was the very real worry and I know it was unfounded, but I think it was especially buddy fight ending that kind of made me worry about this. That what if Vanguard IF is the end of the Vanguard anime? Now, I didn't think Vanguard was ending anytime soon because Vanguard Zero only just launched, and gacha games need to stay up for a long, long time to actually make their money back. So I didn't think Vanguard as a whole was ending, but I was a little worried that IF was just them calling it quits for the anime. Like, I mean, the fact that it didn't even have any card fights itself in it made it seem like they were losing interest. But now that we know that there is something definitely coming after it, that definitely contextualizes IF as just a fun, silly spin-off to kind of spin wheels for a bit whilst we wait for the 10th anniversary. And yes, I think that this anime is intentionally tying in with the 10th anniversary. It makes too much sense, right? And that's why I think IF exists. I think if the 10th anniversary wasn't coming up so soon, then I think IF wouldn't have happened and we would have just got Overdress now. Which, thank God, because imagine launching the new big generation of Vanguard this year. That would have been a real train wreck. So thank God IF existed to kind of absorb some of that blow, huh? So that's really exciting. So the actual anniversary is February. Of course, all of next year is going to be the 10th anniversary of Vanguard, but February is the specific month, and I actually think that could be around about the time that the series airs, because it's really early to get this kind of announcement. It's only July right now, and usually we only learn about a Vanguard anime right before it airs. I remember with the V-Series reboot, we learned about that like 2 months before it started airing, and we got like an actual trailer that showed us animation from the first episode and everything. Like, it was really far in development. Whereas in comparison with Overdress, it looks like all we've gotten is concept art of units. So they're showing this off really early, which means that they have faith in it, is my assumption. Of course, there's various different reasons why they could be showing it off so early as like a tease. Maybe it is to kind of show like, hey, even though we did stop Buddy Fight, that doesn't mean we're not taking our other franchises as seriously anymore. Maybe that's what it is. And in fact, I mentioned like this series was going to have a lot to prove in my previous video in the reaction. And the reason I said that is because of something like Buddy Fight ending. It's like, well, if they're going to end one of their biggest ever franchises like that, they've really got to put the extra effort into the other franchises to really show that they're not going to give those ones the same treatment. Like, we don't want Vanguard to suffer the same fate that Buddy Fight did. And this series, Overdress, is gonna have to prove that, right? So it kind of has to be good, right? It really does. It has to win fans over and make sure that they want to keep playing. And that brings me to maybe an unfounded concern I have, and that's the card game is going to get simplified within the anime itself. Basically, to talk about Yu-Gi-Oh! For a bit, yeah, I know, it's a cliche to mention Yu-Gi-Oh! In a Vanguard video nowadays, but whatever, we're going to do it anyway, because it does a good job of demonstrating my point. Basically, starting from Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains, the kind of card game started to get simplified in the anime. So basically what happened is Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links released right before Vrains started airing, and Duel Links cut down the monster and spell card zones to be 3 cards rather than 5. And then when we got to Vrains started doing the same thing too. Vrains' duels, for the most part, not every single one of them, but most of them only had the 3 monster and spell card zones just like Duel Links. Kinda worried Vanguard's gonna take a page out of that book. Not in terms of restricting the amount of monster spell card zones, because that isn't really a thing, but I mean as in they're gonna make the anime card fights look a lot more like Cardfight Vanguard 0, in that they're going to get rid of guarding, they're going to get rid of grade 0s, that kind of thing. And in fact, we only see 3 units on that promotional image, so if they're getting rid of grade 0s, that makes sense, right? Because it could be a grade 1, a grade 2, and a grade 3. Obviously, it's still going to be the grade 0 starting Vanguard, but you know what I mean, right? No more grade 0 trigger units. I worry about that. Now again, it's unfounded. I have absolutely no reason to believe they'll do this. But it would, you know, they've been skipping card fights a lot in the reboot, and so by simplifying it and using Zero's rule set in the anime, then that would certainly be a way of shortening down the card fights so that they're easier to get through without skipping. I don't want that. I just want it to be paced like the old Vanguard was, where they would show card fights and they'd still have storylines and everything anyway. I want that Link Joker arc pacing. That's what I want. Unrealistic expectation? I don't know, but we'll see. So in terms of, let's talk about Overdress some more. So Overdress isn't inherently a clan, right? Even if we are getting a new clan, that might not be what Overdress is. And so Overdress could be a new card type or a new mechanic. And I think Overdress does sound like a mechanic name, right? And that's really cool, because even if Overdress isn't the new mechanic, we will get one, because that's how you sell cards, right? Every generation of a card game anime has to have some kind of new mechanic. And I like Vanguard's approach of not having every single one of these be summoning methods. Yu-Gi-Oh! Got a bit repetitive after a while, having every single new anime come with a new summoning mechanic, and they only just recently kind of broke out of that formula. I kind of hope that Overdress isn't another summoning mechanic. I hope it's something similar to something like Limit Breaks, where it's not necessarily like, you know, a big new massive type of card, just a kind of fairly unique sort of effect that applies to a lot of the cards, right? So basically, I'm thinking less strides, more limit breaks, right? In terms of how the effects are handled. Again, at the end of the day, I'm sure whatever it is they introduce will be really cool. But Overdress does seem to imply the idea that you are kind of armoring up units and stuff and like kind of adding new stuff on top of them. And in fact, in terms of Overdress, I saw someone be like, does that mean this is going to be a fashion theme series? And I don't think so. I don't think it's that literal. I think Overdress is more kind of inferring like a more metaphorical sense. So Overdress is in like extravagant and sort of style, and like I think it's more a mentality they're going to be taking into the anime. It's more like, basically I think they're going to be trying to make it more of a spectacle based series where it's like the card fights look really cool and grand and big looking. It's like very over the top, and I could see Overdress kind of tying into the protagonist's like catchphrase and mentality and everything. You know, it's a series about more. It's a series about bigger stuff, and I'm totally up for that if they do it correctly, right? So I don't literally think it'll be a fashion theme series about like an idol dressing up or whatever, although I wouldn't hate that actually, as long as it did the card game stuff correctly. But I do think it's a more metaphorical thing where they're trying to turn the card game in itself into more of a kind of stylish, like more is more sort of thing, and I'm totally up for that if that's the case. So in terms of like protagonists and stuff, I saw some people going around saying, hey, if that female unit there, that's a unit for the protagonist's deck, which I think we can pretty safely assume it is. That could be an avatar, right? Like that looks like it could be this generation's version of Blaster Blade or Chrono Jet Dragon. And if that's an avatar, then what are our chances of getting a female protagonist? And I think they're pretty high, sure. I don't think it's like guaranteed. And honestly, I don't really mind one way or the other because, well, we've already had a female protagonist. We've got Emmy. And so I'm fine with any kind of protagonist as long as they're well written. If they want to do another girl, go ahead, do another girl. If you want to do another boy, go ahead and do another boy. My biggest preference, though, is have the actual protagonists themselves be as disconnected as possible from previous continuity and lore stuff. Because, like, I don't want just like Aichi's son or whatever. I don't particularly care about exploring Aichi's bloodline. If he even gets one is the thing. It's like, that's making the assumption that Aichi even has a family and like has kids. And I don't know, I don't even know if that would happen. Would Aichi settle down and just have a bunch of kids? Maybe. But I certainly wouldn't be interested in the protagonist being that. Now, of course, if they do that, the anime could still totally be good. I'm just saying that's one of the less interesting options they could take for the protagonist because it's one of the more predictable ones. And in that regard, again, I just don't want them to be connected at all, because even Chrono, who initially, when he was first revealed, seemed like a really big, like, brand new character who had no other connections, later on it very much got, like, as we got further through G, the more apparent it became that actually Chrono is the center of the universe and the most important person who ever lived. And less of that, please. Less of that, please. I don't want this character to have a particularly complex or important backstory. I want them to be someone who's important to the story because they're passionate at Vanguard and maybe even good at playing it. You know, I don't need them to be heavily connected into the lore and stuff. The lore stuff can come later. What's important to me is that they become a relevant character in episode 1 simply because they take an interest in the game. Basically like Aichi. Aichi starts off as a normal kid who isn't that important in the grand scheme of things, and he only becomes important once he gets into the card game. I want another character like that. I don't want it to be like Chrono, where it's like he was kind of like predetermined and like destined to become a good card fighter no matter what happened. I'm not the biggest fan of that. But again, they could still do it and be good. I'm just like, you know. And in regards to bringing back the old characters, because G did that a lot, right? So it's certainly possible this could too. If they're gonna do that, like, make it sprinkles, you know, make it like sprinkle in an old character here and there. Don't make them too much of a focus. You can have like 1 or 2 of them become like main characters, similar to how Kamui stuck around and was the mentor for Chrono. Have 1 or 2 of the old characters have a major role, but other than that, just kind of sprinkle them in here and there, and preferably have a focus on lesser characters in terms of who gets the attention. Because it's always the same few characters that keep getting brought back over and over again. Like, we always see Aichi, we always see Kai, we always see Ibuki. Like, I get it, these are the popular characters, but if you're gonna bring back characters, bring back people like, I don't know, Kyo, for example, right? Or someone like that, like, or Zaki, or Morikawa, like, or even just Amon Luna from G. Like, just, you know, characters who we haven't seen do all that much. Like, make them more important when they come back here than they were in their original series, right? Like, that kind of thing. When you're bringing back characters, make sure you bring them back so that they can serve a purpose here, rather than just bringing them back because you know people would like it if you brought them back, right? So think about it, you know, plot first, character nostalgia later, because you can have both, but preferably have the story stuff matter more. Like, basically don't do what you did in the Dimension arc, where you were like, hey, here's Trinity Dragon, and we're like, why are they here? I don't know. And then they kind of left and we never saw them again, and that was very pointless. And when you do that over and over again, it just kind of gets tiring and old. And yeah, 10th anniversary, the fact that this is a 10th anniversary, I don't think it'll play all that big a role, you know, like, in the anime itself. I would rather have the anime focus on it being like a new generation with new stuff, as much new stuff as possible. Big focus on the card game itself. I want to see full card fights in their entirety, preferably. Please, you can do it and still have the anime be good. I promise you, it can be done. And the best way of selling trading cards is to actually show them in action. Show us why they're worth buying by showing them in a cool card fight in the anime. I promise you, it does work. You just gotta do it, and you gotta do it well. And other than that, I think that's most of what I have to say in regards to just, like, I just hope they get the basics right. I'm not interested in like a spin-off set on Cray. I'm not interested in any of this other stuff. I just want to see new protagonist, new set of characters, give some of the lesser known clans, or not necessarily lesser known, but like, you know, give some of the less popular clans some, you know, some spotlight, you know, make a major character use tachikaze, right? Stuff like that. I want to see new stuff. And that's what I'm looking forward to seeing from Overdress. I'm keeping my expectations tempered. I am admittedly very excited for this, but of course, you know, it's important. We're very far off still. Like, it's over half a year now until it airs, at least. And so, and we don't know anything really. So, you know, it's too early to get any kind of like firm opinion or anything. But the best thing to do is just to kind of keep an open mind and just kind of go into it and see what it is it gives us. And feel free to speculate what it will give us in the comments below. Let me know what you think we could be seeing from this series, what kind of protagonist you'd like to see in terms of their personality, what kind of clan you'd like to see them use, whether that be an already existing one, or if it is a new clan, what kind of gameplay you'd like to see attached to it. and other stuff like that, right? I'd like to see what you think, because I love getting new series like this and seeing what it is they do with it, and I love kind of speculating and thinking about all the different things we could end up seeing. And I just hope the actual series itself doesn't disappoint in that regard. So yeah, I'll see you later with some more Vanguard videos. If you're new to this channel, make sure to subscribe so you can see more of this stuff. If you liked it, if you didn't, that would be kind of a stupid thing to do. And make sure to like the video if you liked the video. Fairly self-explanatory. And I'll see you later with some more Vanguard content in future.